The theme of manual.
At least Harry Maguire stopped making incredible mistakes, and he's actually getting a bit back on form.
Which is good for England too.
Harry Maguire.
You guys should do a football podcast.
In fact, Dave, we won't do sustainability.
No. That's my
Dave
retirement.
and I will get a drink.
We'll just talk about
I'll go and fall asleep on the beanbags again. Welcome to Cloud Realities Live, a conversation show exploring the practical and exciting alternate realities that can be unleashed through cloud-driven transformation. I'm Dave Chapman.
I'm Sjoukje and Rob.
And I'm Rob Kernahan.
And joining us as the final guest of the week, but likely probably the most important and urgent subject that we've talked about all week, even though we've covered some big stuff, I'm not sure anything in the world is pretty much as important as the stuff we're about to talk about now. So we've got Rahul Sareen, and Rahul is the Global Head of Sustainability Solutions at AWS. Welcome, Rahul. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Maybe just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the role that you do at AWS.
Sure. So I've been with AWS for 9 years, so really long timer here. And my background has been in the emerging technology space. So within AWS, I was leading IoT team, machine learning teams, and data, ML, all the emerging tech that you can think of. And that's what my background is, building innovation solution using emerging technologies and cloud. And then I've been doing sustainability for the past 3 years now. And the genesis for this came with when we were talking to our customers, right? They were asking, how is Amazon doing for its own sustainability? How can digital technologies accelerate some of the sustainability challenges that they are facing within the organization? And one of the things that we found was that emerging tech and cloud were kind of, big accelerators to solve some of the problems that our customers were facing.
Right.
And that's how, I started a sustainability 3 years ago, and we've been doing strong. We've been working with customers, partners, and doing strong innovation in this space.
Well, let's use that frame to explore the subject in a second. I'm looking forward to digging into that. But before we do that, maybe just worth taking pause. It's the end of the week of reInvent, and we'll come a bit later on in the show to some of the big things that we've seen and some of the big themes. But how's your week been?
It's been busy, but that's expected of reInvent when we have,
like literally non-stop, 20 hours a day, isn't it?
Yeah. I was actually joking with one of my friends. I was like, okay, my exercise quota for the next month is done.
You done? Yeah. Ooh, that's it. You can go home and just lie down and stop. I like that. I'm going to use that one. I've stolen that. That's it. That's mine. That's mine.
I earned my
of all the
Christmas
stuff we've been talking about, that's your tip.
What? How to be lazy? Yeah. That's lit. That's brilliant. Every conference you go to, that's the month done.
How to be lazier.
That's Dave cutting.
What's your step count then?
So today it's been 12,000 so far, but yesterday it was 21,000 steps.
That is good. Have you been going up and down the strip, or is that literally just in the Venetian?
So it's Venetian, Mandalay Bay, you name it.
Right, yeah. Absolutely mental, isn't it?
It's been nice. It's nice to actually talk to partners and customers. And one of the themes that we have seen, and this is my 7th reInvent.
Right.
So I've been here,
you got the badges, the honors, the medals that go out.
Exactly.
The end.
Yeah. I've seen the transition, and I've seen innovation happening. When I see happy customers, that's what, gives me the fulfillment. But one of the themes that we are seeing, year over year, especially, we've been doing sustainability. This is our 2nd year where we have showcase sustainability demos. We have talks, we have workshops, and we have almost seen 5 times the amount of responses from our customers, the foot traffic, the interest, which is really interesting and really, heartwarming to see that customers really care about.
And they're getting interested. You see that growing. Yes. You've seen it through. But it is. I think for me, socially, sustainability, the importance of the environment, everything else is now front of mind for almost everyone. And it's but go back 10 years, it was not a conversation we spoke about, and now suddenly it's very acute, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of research that was already happening, right? And it's not that sustainability is a new topic, right?
Yeah.
There are organizations, there are research and government bodies that have been doing sustainability for the past. And sustainability, again, is a very broad term, right? Like you basically define it into all the way from climate reporting to water conservation. And I'm just right now talking about the environmental aspect. There are social aspects, government aspects that are also important, right? But when I started, and going back to your question, right? Like when I started, I was like, okay, we as technologists, we are not trying to change what these agencies, these government bodies, or what the other customers have been doing, right?
Yeah.
What we are trying to do is, how can we use technology and provide tools, provide digital platforms to these customers, to the government agencies, to the research bodies, to basically accelerate what they are doing,
Right.
and do it better and faster.
Yeah, and I think technology is so important as the enabler, the foundation to be able to pick it up, use it, understand, bring the transparency, bring it front of mind, and then you've got your what do I do next to make this better?
Well, let's dig in. Let's dig right into it. Now, I thought we'd use your framework of solution partners and innovation to explore the subject a little bit. So let's first of all start with the solution, and start with the solution through the lens of AWS yourselves. Obviously, you've got an absolutely vast infrastructure. You guys have been working extremely hard, and you've got some very aggressive net zero commitments around your infrastructure. So perhaps take us through that journey and how you guys got to achieve that and set such an aggressive timescale to achieve net zero.
Yeah. So, and again, it's not just AWS, right? Like when we look at our net zero commitment, it's actually at the Amazon level. So we have businesses, which includes Prime, which includes our devices business, and which also includes AWS as one of the prominent business. And when we talk about our net zero commitment, we actually are, driving towards net zero by 2040, which is 10 years before the Paris Climate Accord. And that's why we co-founded Climate Pledge. And we've been working with our customers and our suppliers to basically, because we understand that this is not a one company or a one party effort. It's a joint effort that we have to do with everyone.
It's about as ecosystem as it can be, right? But I wonder if you could share. Can you share with us elements of the AWS Net Zero plan, like how you guys are actually attacking the problem?
Oh yeah, so we are looking all the way from our data centers. We are doing innovation all the way in our data centers about like the energy that is consumed by our servers and our racks, right? So all the infrastructure, we are doing a lot of optimization around that. We basically just announced our water positive commitment by 2030,
right? Where
we will probably be working with all the local agencies in order to make sure that we release back more water than we consume. We are basically innovating. We are designing our own chips. So, for example, if you see Inferentia chips that we have, those are known to be more energy efficient. That we always recommend our customers if they are running machine learning or HPC cluster models, to basically leverage those. We have Graviton processor. We just announced a Graviton 4 processor, which not only just provides you with cost benefits, but then they have also proven to be almost 40 to 50%, lower carbon intensive.
Yeah. Well, Rob, you've been doing some work today on Graviton.
Yeah, no, I was with the Graviton guys earlier, and a little bit of complexity to get to it if you've got an existing platform, but actually when you do, you get those dramatic improvements, cheaper and better for the environment. But actually it starts with making good decisions when you do something new.
Yes.
That's what we like to talk about. Say, crimes of architecture is not thinking that you can change something, especially in cloud, to make an improvement. And Graviton's a classic example. If it's net new, go to Graviton.
And Graviton is a perfect example where, the business goals and the sustainability goals, you can see that, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They don't have to clash with each other, right? By being sustainable, you can also be a better business.
Yeah.
And you can be an optimized business, and you can also do cost benefits.
And my big takeaway from that, by the way, is the phrase Crimes of architecture.
It's a good one. There's many, Dave. Many. And there's loads that I've done that nobody knows about either.
Where all the bodies are buried in that.
Yeah. There's a note that's going to be released on my death to inform everybody where they need to go and look.
I think you should write like a multi-volume series, like Crimes of Architecture Volume 1 to 20.
They eventually worked out they just needed to stop me doing it. Get away from the keyboard now, Kernahan. You've had enough.
As a level 4 architect, you cannot do that.
Exactly. You should introduce into your architecture course a module called Crimes of Architecture. Come on.
I'll add that in for the chief architect.
Absolutely
Crimes
brilliant.
of architecture.
But back to the subject and talking about tech innovation and the platform itself. I don't know whether you know this yet in terms of how the solutions are going to come to market for consumption. So is it going to be I can say opt for a greener solution and a less green solution, or ultimately is the whole infrastructure going to transition to a green infrastructure? So I'm green by default.
And again, it's I think so. Maybe I'll take a step back, right? So when we talk about solutions, there are various ways in which we help our customers be sustainable. One, what we call it as sustainability in and off the cloud, right? So when customers run IT workloads and they are running it on-prem, what we have, and there is an independent research that was done by 451 report where it showed that, just by migrating to the cloud, you can reduce your IT workload carbon footprint by almost 80%. And because we are almost like we are already on path to be 100% renewable by 2025, that can actually increase it up to 96%. So it's a low hanging fruit. And this is what we also recommend, that if you are running like your IT workloads or applications on-prem, just migrate to the cloud. And not only you can get the benefit of scalability, resilience, and all the other things that we have, but you can also be sustainable. So that's one part. But then the other part in which, what my team also works is, how can we leverage the digital technologies and the emerging technologies to build solutions solving complex problems like ESG reporting, like renewable energy transition, like value chain transparency, biodiversity impact, circular economy. All these are problems that our customers really grapple with. And if you see data, ML, IoT, these are some of the emerging tech foundations that really help accelerate the development of these challenges.
And that's maybe a good bridge into the partners section of your framework, because those examples of the sort of solutions that you talk about are extremely end-to-end, extremely cross-industry, and deeply complex. So obviously you're leveraging a partner ecosystem, but how are you structuring and driving that, and what kind of progress are you seeing?
So partners are the integral part of our, not only just sustainability, right? Like if you see about anywhere from migration, modernization, data, ML, right? Partners are core for us to scale, right? And the same is true for sustainability. In fact, one of the things that we see when we go and talk to customers, our customers are still new. They're still trying to figure out what they really need to do, right? There are regulations that are coming up day in, day out. We just had a regulation that was passed in California, SB 253 and 261. And our customers have no idea what to do with that, right? I can provide the best tool, but they need someone who can actually help them strategize, plan, and how to execute so that they can meet those standards, right? And this is where the partners come, right? They not only just help us provide the scalability of deploying those tools, but they also act as a trusted advisor for those customers, right? And this is where, like the partner ecosystem becomes very important for us. And the way we structure, we have partner ecosystem where we have these ISV providers who are building these tools that solve complex issues that we can then give to our customers. And then we have our global system integrators who basically provide thought leadership, and then they basically bridge all the gaps together.
And there's a lot of legislation that's starting to arrive where organizations have to report on their whole footprint and their supply chain.
Yes.
Which for very large organizations is a slightly scary veg moment where they go, how am I going to work that out?
Yes.
And it's that the tooling's there and you go, well, we're here to help. And it is the pill to solve the headache that is, it's really important, but it is actually becoming law. And if you don't do it, the fines are going to be very large.
Oh yeah, these are like scary things, right? Because no one has that. So one thing, I always kind of, when someone says, okay, how do you define sustainability? I always say, like a very good, thing is think about security, right? Security is important. Everyone has to do security. Similarly, sustainability is important, right? The challenge is we are not there yet as we are with security. In security, we have very well-defined frameworks. There is HIPAA, there is PCI. We know what the regulations are. We know what the challenges are. And we have partners, we have tools, and we have very well-defined frameworks. That's not true for sustainability.
And that's a great analogy to compare the two, because security is embedded in everything you do.
Yes.
And absolutely sustainability needs to be the same, but it's like we're still working out the muscle memory for sustainability, aren't we? To make sure we embed it everywhere. It still feels a new skill that we're still learning.
Oh, and one thing that I actually challenge my team and even like my customers is, and I like say sustainability by design.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, we say security by design this morning, sustainability by design. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Good.
But very, very interrelated, and like everything should be designed like that from the outset. So you've referenced it a couple of times. Let's move on to the innovation portion of your framework and how you're leveraging the sort of technologies that we've been talking about, I guess, to actually create solutions. So have you got some examples that come to mind of, what you think good looks like?
Oh yeah. In fact, one of the themes that we are actually hearing a lot from our customers is, how can you really help us innovate from digital perspective, right? And that's where, back to the themes that I was talking about, AI ML kind of becomes one of the crucial things. In fact, we have something, what we call it as AI for sustainability.
Yeah.
So we have solutions that basically are built leveraging our AI service stack and technologies. And in fact, one of the things that we have started exploring over the last 6 to 9 months is, how can I use Gen AI to basically solve some of these complex problems? And in fact, if like those of you who probably are at reInvent, they can go to our sustainability showcase at the Caesars Forum. We have a demo where we are showing Gen AI, like the power of Gen AI to solve some of the challenges, especially around ESG regulations and reporting.
Yeah.
Because as you know, right, these regulations, they are like hundreds of pages of documents. And you have literally people who are going through these regulations and documents, especially these are like legal regulations, right? So someone has to go through them, make sure that all the data that they are presenting matches, right? This is where I think the power of Gen AI becomes pretty important. And what we do, we say, you provide your data report, you provide a regulation, and then you can basically then ask question that, okay, how can I make my report compliant with, for example, CSRD regulation?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really powerful.
It's so hard to navigate. I want to meet a regulator that does simple regulation. I don't think they exist. It's almost like they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And they never remove anything. They only just add. Stop adding.
It's a bit like if you ask somebody to do any job all day, they will do it all day.
You want us to regulate?
Yeah,
right.
We're gonna regulate the shit out of this. So they're gonna write like hundreds of pages of it, and some of which is more useful than others. Let's face it.
I'll bet they're proud when they stand back. But I mean, a lot of it is very important, but it is a minefield to navigate for many customers. So the more help you can give them, the better. Yeah.
Another example that probably I would like to quickly talk about is, now we are talking about, I just spoke about the regulation and the reporting, right?
Yeah.
But no one will be able to reach net zero just by reporting.
No.
You have to take actions. And this is where, AI becomes pretty powerful, right? So like, for example, we all know buildings constitute a big chunk of the global greenhouse gas emissions. So many customers are coming to us, right? Like these are like portfolio managers, like real estate portfolio managers, and even like companies like Schneider, Siemens, who are doing pretty good in the sustainability space. They are coming to us and they are asking, how can I basically build a machine learning model that can tell me based on the occupancy within the building, or based on the outside weather conditions, what should be the set point of my HVAC system,
Okay.
so that I can basically consume less energy. And again, going back to the dynamics I was talking about, right? Reducing energy consumption can not only help reduce your carbon emissions, it also helps you become more cost efficient.
Yes.
And especially the energy bill that you probably would know, right? Like the UK, right?
Yeah,
They were
we all
grappling with
remember
the-
that. Yeah, well, we
Yes.
still are. We are remembering it
Yes.
currently. Yeah, it's a big push.
But you're right, though. There is a direct correlation between sort of efficiency and sustainability.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it happens in lots of different areas that if you go after this, you actually are going to, you are going to save money as well as being
Yes.
kinder to the planet.
Yeah.
So I wonder, maybe just in a way of bringing our conversation to a bit of a close today, if you could, looking at the landscape and the sustainability challenges for, say, the next 5 years, if there is one technology or change that you could accelerate, what would it be? What do you think central to really moving the dial?
Again, I think back to the point I've been saying, I think AI, especially Gen AI, we are seeing a big potential with Gen AI overall, and we are just scratching the surface, right? We actually have built use cases. We have customers who are coming to us saying, hey, this is a very complex problem for me. How can I solve this, right? We are actually now venturing into the climate risk space. As you know, right, like we have these climate natural disasters that are occurring. We had the Maui wildfire, the Canadian wildfires, we had the floodings. So that type of natural disasters will keep on happening, right? And this is where we are actually figuring out how can we use Gen AI and AI overall to build models that can actually predict and forecast before the natural disaster occurs, and also tell the customers how will it impact their value chain.
Yeah, it's early warning saves lives.
Yes.
And avoids a lot of pain. That's great. I mean, it's technology for greater good.
Yeah, I always say, right,
fundamentally.
detection is good, but prevention is optimal.
Yeah.
One of the previous guests we had on, we were talking about quantum, and obviously there's been quantum announcements this week at reInvent. And one of the interesting examples that they think that quantum's going to tackle very early is the fertilizer problem. So the fertilizers we use to grow the food that we need to sustain like multiple billion people on the earth, which is like an unnatural growth number.
Yes.
Those fertilizers themselves create a very dramatic percentage of greenhouse gases. So I wonder, when you're thinking about, like, is quantum coming into the equation for you yet?
So we have had some discussions, but I think the things that we are seeing a lot is more on the HPC simulation.
Oh, okay.
I was actually talking to one of the clean tech startups yesterday, and they are basically building fusion reactors for clean energy.
Right.
And they are basically looking at HPC, and they are running simulations at peak hours, and these simulations are with hundreds and millions of data points, and they are running it like using our HPC clusters, turning up and down based on the scale that they want. So we are seeing a big push towards HPC. There is definitely a power in quantum that's coming up. Right now, our focus has been with a lot of customers around HPC.
Yeah, if we can get fusion power working, man, that is nirvana, isn't it, from a power perspective? Just a very difficult thing to do because they've been spending decades on it. Getting closer, though.
Yes.
Well, very good. Thank you so much for your insight today. And now, given that this is the last episode from reInvent this year, it feels like we've been doing these episodes for both a short time and forever at the same time. It's like a strange time warp situation, but we're at the end.
You're not suggesting we're in a weird reality, are you, Dave?
It's a bit like that.
See what I did there?
Clever. It was clever. Creative. But Sjoukje has been tracking announcements all week, and I know you've been aggregating them together into some sort of themes. So let's have a look at them and see what we've got.
Yeah, so there are a couple of themes that keep coming back during this event. First one, around performance, efficiency, cost reduction in databases, analytics, logging, but also in how to design your system in architectures and in all the PaaS services. It was also around practical computing. Lots of tools are available, but you also need to get your architecture right.
No crimes.
no crimes,
No
not
crime,
at all.
no.
Especially not for L4 architects.
No.
No. It was about safety, sovereignty, sustainability, of course, and AI was one major theme during this event, lastly. It's going to transform everything we do. The 9 months of hype are now really settling in enterprises. They're going to take the next step to build intelligent solution. So as a summary, AWS is the cloud for builders, and it offers a mature and stable foundation for companies to take the next step in the cloud and also to innovate in the cloud.
Rob, that resonate with you? What are you thinking?
I think it's been going a long time now, and we've just seen ever-increasing maturity. It's a theme that's coming out a lot, which is just getting better, easier, removing the pain. But what I like is the application of Gen AI over the top of pre-existing tools and platforms to make it even better.
Yeah.
Like the things we discussed with the algorithms. There was that bit you talked about where the AI can now help you select the AI model that you want to use. So AI now helping you build AI, which is starting to get to a really nice point for me. So I was thinking about, I'm going to be out of a job soon.
No. And Rahul, anything in that summary that either resonated particularly with you or you think we've missed in the summary of the week?
I think you summarized it, right? As I have been saying in this podcast and to my customers throughout the week, I think AI and Gen AI will probably transform the businesses.
Yeah.
And sustainability is part of that transformation.
Yeah.
One of the releases that I really loved was the Amazon Q.
Oh, yeah. Was there anything in Star Trek from that? Because obviously the first episode of Next Generation had Q in it. I wonder if there was whoever created it liked particularly that
We
that
have
character.
a lot of Star Wars fan AWS, so you never know.
It must be related. I've thought a couple of times this week, I wonder where Q came from. I bet you've put your finger right on that.
Oh, I thought it was James Bond.
Yeah.
Episode 1, Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Could have been Bond. I didn't realise there were so many Qs.
Yeah, there are lots of queues.
Yeah.
Also here at the event, we also saw a lot of queues, yeah.
Good one. My takeaway was similar as well, which is I think there is a sort of a real maturity in terms of how the building blocks of all this stuff is being brought together. So it wasn't like overly hyping certain areas. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around Gen AI, but I thought the positioning of it within the stack as part of the toolkit, and then with Q, whichever Q it is, kind of now beginning to start to enhance the usability. So I really like that. I also thought there was an interesting repositioning and use of modernization, not just migration. So previously, I think the language and framing of modernization has been like very much in the, hey, higher productivity, new revenues, blah, 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 which of course it is and should be like that. But there was a bit of a repositioning of it, I thought, as using modernization to also drive efficiencies and to also deal with cost challenges.
Economic headwinds, tackling that.
Economic headwinds, but of course, modernization connects back to sustainability and systemic approaches to dealing with sustainability.
It's a double whammy, isn't it? You save a load of dough and you save the planet, and my children get a breathable atmosphere, so thank you very much.
Some would say it sounds like a no-brainer.
It does, absolutely.
Should all do a bit more about it, I think. Now, coming on to an even more important subject.
Uh-oh.
Best swag.
Best swag?
So, now,
Drum
Rob,
roll.
all week you've been looking for a mouse.
I have, Dave.
We're at the end of the week. Find a mouse?
No. You were right.
Yeah. It seemed like a big bit of swag. Still does to me, that.
Oh, yeah, I almost want a keyboard, actually, over there, a nice mechanical one.
Oh.
But there are some really good stuff. There is some good stuff.
Go on, give us your top three.
The top three was the Lego I won. That was good. Lego set. It's all right. That is a good one. There's a fidget spinner that is extremely high quality. Surprisingly good quality. It just keeps going, and that's me done.
Are they still like a thing, fidget spinners?
They are. They are for me. And then there's an Elvis walking around on stage as well. Look at that.
That's unusual.
That is unusual. Don't see that every day. And then I think what Marcel liked, and I did like as well, I think he's stolen it, actually, my yo-yo. I got a yo-yo that lights up, and it's a spinny one, so you can do all the tricks from my childhood. If you'll remember Duncan's yo-yos from days gone by.
The cradle.
Yeah, I used to do the cradle, the rocking the baby, and all that sort of stuff.
I look forward to seeing him, but that a bit later.
You're probably going to hit you in the head with it as it flies off.
Rahul, have you had a swag walk?
Not yet, but I do plan to basically go around and see whatever is left.
They just throw it at you at the end of the conference.
There's probably plenty of fidget spinners that have been around for about the last 5 years.
You know what? Like some of the best swags over the last 7 years I've basically collected has been the last day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
like they either are announcing a prize and the prize winner basically doesn't show up, so they're like, "You want it?" I'm like, why
you're
not?
probably
Have a
right.
drone. Yeah.
Probably right. My favourite bit of swag is the lip balm.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
loads of
Yes.
those
Oh.
actually.
Super
You need-
practical.
Oh, 100%.
We shouldn't forget the hangover kit swag as well, which was quite good. It comes with Advil, antacids, toothpaste, a plaster
really?
somehow. There's a plaster in there as well.
I've just availed myself of it, and it was extremely useful, I have to
Oh,
say.
I haven't seen that one.
That's right. There's one on the table there.
Ah,
That's
okay.
the little bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to bring any swag home.
Why not?
No, I had so many T-shirts, so many socks. It got a bit too much.
Yeah.
Got out of hand. Yeah. Yeah.
So you haven't, nothing's caught your eye, and you thought,
Only
I'm going
one
to take
pair
a
of
risk.
socks. Only one pair of socks.
Which ones were there?
I'm not really sure. What
colour
was
are
on
they?
it. It was black with red. I think hearts.
Look at great
yeah.
black and red hearts. Very nice. Unbelievable. I don't get it. Anyway, last bit of roundup for the week. Favorite event or restaurant? So Rahul, what stood out on an evening? Either a good steak you've had or a good event you've been to.
Honestly speaking, choosing a favorite restaurant, you're like choosing the favorite child, right? In Vegas, right?
Oh, very
Oh,
politically
right.
correct.
Top three,
that,
top
yeah,
three.
yeah, you're
So
not
I'll
going
probably
out.
Okay.
take like the event, and I think the sustainability showcase, in my opinion,
Right.
and maybe I'm a bit biased, but especially the Legos, so we actually built the whole smart city and with Legos.
Yeah.
And if you haven't checked out, I do suggest for people to go and check this out. It's amazing. I think the way we have kind of done the innovation and designed the whole sustainability showcase, it has been amazing.
Cool. Rob, you got anything that comes to mind? Event, restaurant?
It's going to be the Peppermill, and I've got a Peppermill T-shirt, which you did buy for me, David.
I
So
did.
that was quite a surprising gift.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Rob had a particularly rough day the other day and was looking very downtrodden. And there's a picture of him captured that's been published on LinkedIn by Chris that is an absolute classic of somebody sitting there with like a resting, depressed face. So if you go and track down a LinkedIn post by Chris Dudgeon and zoom in on Rob, that's why I bought him a T-shirt. I can't leave you looking like that, Rob.
It's very much appreciated, David. Thank
it
you.
is
should
cool. I
say
go
it's
too.
a cracking restaurant, and it's a great T-shirt.
It
as
is
well,
like very retro-y looking
Yeah,
thing.
it's
It's
cool.
very cool.
Looks very good on you.
Sjoukje, what about you?
Primal Steakhouse and the Peppermill.
Were you telling the truth about drinking out of horns and that?
Yeah, that's really the truth. Yeah.
I mean,
Swords, horns, smoky horns.
Where were we when that was going on?
I don't know. Working probably, Rob.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Making the podcast dream work.
Yeah, exactly.
Whilst,
Yeah.
Everyone else just sloped off.
That's right. Well, look, the week's over. Let's look forward a little bit. And Rahul, we end every episode of this show by asking our guests what they're excited about doing next. And that could be, in this case, I just can't wait to see the faces of my family again. Or it could be something that you're looking forward in your professional life. So, Rahul, end the show. What are you looking forward to doing next?
I'm actually going to the crop in Dubai.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So-
Yeah, very good.
So even though it'll be like back to back, so I'll be back home
For
tomorrow.
like 24 hours or something.
And then yes, exactly, like meeting my wife. Sometimes says the kids probably don't even recognize you. The amount of travel.
yeah.
But I think
It's that strange man. He's come
Yeah.
back into the house again. Yeah.
but I think I'm really looking forward to the crop. I think there are going to be some really good meetings that we are doing with customers, partners, and I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of innovation we can try.
Brilliant. Rahul, thanks for taking the time again today and for sharing your insights with us.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
So a huge thanks to our guest this week, Rahul. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thanks also to our sound and editing wizards, Ben and Louis, our ironing producer, Marcel, and of course to all of our listeners. We're on LinkedIn and X, Dave Chapman, Rob Kernahan, and Sjoukje Zaal. Feel free to follow or connect with us, and please get in touch if you have any comments or ideas for the show. And of course, if you haven't already done that, rate and subscribe to our podcast. See you in another reality next week.